Witness video of the shooting. We want to warn you, it's disturbing. We're going to play a part of it now.
No! No! Oh my God! What the? You just...
Right? Tensions grew quickly after that shooting. What appears to be tear gas and pepper spray were released during a confrontation between demonstrators and law enforcement. You see that there. Hours later, we have other videos showing crowds throwing snowballs at police cars and following them on the street. I want to bring in NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter. And Tom, if I may, the President of the United States just put out a post on social media, and I just want to quote some of it. He is saying, "I viewed the clip of the event, which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. Quote, the woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, and then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense." Tom, we're dealing with a lot of competing accounts today of what actually happened here from the Department of Homeland Security, from the president now, from the mayor of Minneapolis. We're about to hear from the governor at some point. What will the investigation, though, of what actually happened going forward, what will that look like?
Yeah, Kate, I can actually give you a new statement from the FBI obtained by our colleague Ryan Riley. It says the FBI is investigating a shooting incident that occurred today in Minneapolis involving a federal law enforcement officer. Consistent with our investigative protocol, the incident is under review, and we are working closely with our law enforcement partners. And then they say any additional inquiries can be sent over to the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, and they have an email for news organizations to reach out to. So that's very consistent with what we've seen in these types of incidents in the past when there's been a law enforcement shooting involving a member of federal law enforcement. That's something that the FBI typically takes a look at. The use of force policy for the Department of Homeland Security, I'm reading it, and I quote, is with any use of force, the law enforcement officer's use of deadly force must be reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances confronting him or her at the time the force is applied. Members of federal law enforcement, and I'm not going to quote now, I'm paraphrasing, are not allowed to shoot at a fleeing subject unless those kind of general terms there that I outlined that the law enforcement officer, now I'm going to quote, has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force possesses an imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury to the law enforcement officer or to another person. So that's going to be the ultimate question here from a legal standpoint, Kate, is what was the intent, what was in the mind of the ICE law enforcement officer who fired these rounds, if it was more than one, what they were thinking, did they think that they were under reasonable threat to their own lives? That's going to be a question. The video that we looked at there pretty much starts where you started to show it, so we don't know what led up to this incident. You're looking at it again here now. I always look at the tires whenever we're looking at a vehicle incident, and so when you slow it down, they're clearly angled one way, the driver appears to go to another, and there appears to be a shot from the front of the vehicle, perhaps from the side as well. All this is going to take time at a time when the public traditionally wants answers very quickly.
Right, and that's why we're getting all these narratives, especially on social media. Tom, I do want to go back to the president's post that just came up a short time ago. He does say that this person ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He also says, based on the attached clip, he's talking about video, it is hard to believe he is alive, meaning the officer, but is now recovering in the hospital. Have we heard that from any other authority?
I want to be a little careful here, Kate, because I don't know what video clip he's referring to in that statement, and I've seen a lot of video clips of this incident. I haven't seen an officer that's been run over, but perhaps their foot was run over, perhaps another part of their leg was in the course of this individual leaving. But as I mentioned before, we've only seen a portion of this event. Is there something that happened sooner prior to this, prior to the interaction that we saw there occurring? I just don't know. We just don't know. So I would want to look at that video, whatever the president is referring to, and the other videos to get a sense of that. And really the only accounts that we have are the videos that you and I and everybody watching us can see with their own two eyes, as well as then the statements that we've had from ICE and the statements that we've had from the president. There's been some comments that this was some sort of an act of domestic terrorism. They would need to know the motives of the individual in the car before they could actually say or charge anything along those lines.
All right, Tom Winter for us. Tom, thanks so much.
Got it.
Today.